you know that we've actually done a lot and what we plan to do in the next year. Then today we are going to be having some speakers among us that will talk about. Also today we are going to be using today to celebrate World Youth Skill Day. So it's not today, I think it was about 2 days ago. So we are going to be commemorating it today, and we are going to be having speakers that will be talking about how we can meaningfully engage with young people moving forward, especially in this post-COVID era, where everything is somewhat digitalized, and we are in the era where tech is taking over, and if you are not techy, you are not savvy. So yes, we are going to be having speakers talk about what we need to engage with and how we need to engage moving forward in this post-COVID era. So it's important that we have this conversation because as young people all over the world, you know, we are navigating our way into the global system, into decision-making mechanisms, how we can make decisions that are transformative, that are inclusive, that are from feminist perspective, that are very inclusive in all diversities, actually. So it's important that we have conversations like this because it will enable us and build our capacities by ourselves to, engage meaningfully. Because when we demand seats at decision-making tables, it's not just for us to sit there and warm the chairs. It's for us to meaningfully engage with state actors, with political leaders, with decision makers. So it's important that we have this conversation so that when we are given those seats at the table, we are strengthened enough, our capacity is built enough to engage meaningfully, to provide transformative solutions. So that's why we are here today. I don't know if Balkis is ready to give us the 1 year round.
The 360 round club. I would just like to say a big welcome to every one of you, and I appreciate you for taking our time to join us at Girl Up Nigeria. It's been a roller coaster for us and a lot of challenges, but we're able to bounce back with support of people like you. So I would like us to actually listen to the executive volunteers share their experience working at Girl Up Nigeria. So we're going to take that first, then we'll come back to the 1 year recap. Thank you.
My name is Victor. I wouldn't like to be on the spotlight, but it has happened that she has called me to speak. So in a few minutes, I would say that back in 2018, and this is a backstory, so I met Balkis in Ilori. I was serving as a core member, and then we went at the Yali platform, and ever since then we've been in touch. And then one afternoon during the pandemic, I can't remember the date, so I was scrolling through LinkedIn, and then I just saw her post, Girl Up, something like that. This looks good, this is fantastic. And then about 3 minutes afterwards, she called me on the phone. I'm like, okay, what is this? And she said, okay, Victor, I'm starting this. I'm like, you know what? I'm jumping on this. That wasn't a coincidence. And then I'm a human resources professional. My core experience is in recruitment, performance management, and all of that stuff. And fundamentally, I know that for every institution to stand, and the quality of people that they have, the quality of human capital that they have is very important. So I volunteered to be part of the recruitment process to ensure that we can attract the right set of people, not just because of the brand like she shared. For young people like us, the brand is something, the class is something, the tribe is a big deal, which is fine. However, the quality of work that you are bringing on board because of the skills, knowledge, and ability that you have is very important. So we don't have people who are just coming to leverage on the platform, but we have people who are coming to do the actual work. And for me, I would say that it is one of the beautiful moments I've had as a recruiter, because I think we had backlogs of interviews for like 2-3 weeks. At some point we had to reschedule again just because we were looking for the right fit. I remember people like, I don't know if I want to mention it, but I can see some faces on this screen. I've met them in a couple of webinars. I'm like, I know you from somewhere. I know you from somewhere. And when you hear them talk about their story and why they want to be a part of Girl Up, I think there's one of your volunteers who has a background in law. I don't know if it's true, but there's one lady like that. Yes. And we had to postpone the interview again because we could not hear, just because we were looking for the right people. Because, like I said earlier, if you don't have the right fit on board, it's not going to work. And going through the process to getting all the executive volunteers, I am convinced that they've been able to deliver on the job. Now, what also fascinated me to be on board was the fact that they were doing something to emancipate women and girls. They were doing something to give them a bigger voice, to broaden the spectrum of opportunities. People who are marginalized can have access to one thing. If people who have this as their habit want to commit their time to it, why not jump on board and make it happen? And if we look at 1 year, I'm very proud of the work that they have done, even though, like I said, I like to always be at the background, and once in a while we just jump on the call to say, what's going on, what's happening, and to see that they are doing the right thing. I remember a particular webinar where I had to interface with the volunteers. For me, it was really fulfilling because the satisfaction that comes for me is in being able to identify the right people, get them on board, let us bring all that we have together to ensure that the vision is happening. And if you have an opportunity, like I said, a privilege to be able to connect with some of the finest minds, I'm sure that this volunteer team, the team of executive volunteers, has some of the brightest minds amongst young people. I can say that anywhere. So if you have the privilege, like I've been given, to be able to say, let these guys come on board, let's speak to, I count that as something very big. I'm glad at what they've done. I'm glad at some of the collaborations they've been able to do, and more importantly, the work and the quality of life that is improving for the people that they are conducting. So thank you very much. As we do this 1 year anniversary, let's see what our goals have been, the ones we're able to smash, the one we're able to smash, and let's recalibrate for another 1 year of impact. Thank you very much.
Steve, like your hand, I don't know, like can we clap for Victor? Can we appreciate Victor? So Joshua, I don't know what's going on. I saw your energy on Thursday, you're clapping very well. What happened today? Lagos traffic. Okay, so we're going to go through what our executive volunteers have for us, and I want you guys to stay back and enjoy. We would have to off the lights so that we can have a nice effect, and probably close the door also.
So coping mechanism during the COVID-19 lockdown, the post-lockdown, and even also the should I say post-COVID now? Because now there's a new variant. So, as a barbarian. Right, as a barbarian. So in all of this, what has been your coping mechanism, let me call it like that? What have you been using to adapt to the new to the new change, to the new form of doing work, to the remote way of doing work, to the online way of doing work? What has been your coping mechanism? And also, I would like you to take into, when you're talking about your experience sharing, let's be very realistic, taking into consideration the reality we have in Nigeria and in relation to the Nigerian government and its cruelty in treating young people, from EndSARS, from Twitter ban, the insecurity, the kidnapping that has been uprising in Nigeria. Let's take into cognizance when we are talking about when we are sharing our experience. So let's be very realistic and very particular about that. So what you do, how you've been able to navigate around the old crazy of Nigeria's reality. So where do I start from? I think it's fine.
I feel I'm pushed, but it's fine. Okay, how do I want to start? I think 2020 was super eventful for me. I don't know how, a lot of mixed feelings, but basically I'm a workaholic. So I think I coped doing a lot of other things apart from my regular 9 to 5. I also learned to appreciate family more in that period of being in their space. I realized that I couldn't trade their love for work. I think it also helped me live through that process. Working currently, I don't think I want to go back to the office. Even if I had to work twice a week in the office, I don't want to go back to the office. I'm already used to working from home, so I think that new cool is the cool for me. Particularly about the government, I think 2020, 2021 has been some sort of awakening for Nigerian youths. I think it's just the European effect, and I hope that we can keep that momentum with time. I hope it doesn't turn out. I feel that defined a new Nigerian spirit, and that's particularly the change we're looking out for. So basically for me, I think a lot of Netflix also helps me survive. So I think that's that for me.
Good afternoon. Right?
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. That man. I'm an addict to Twitter. I'm sitting down on Twitter again. So it is very painful seeing the government banning where we can actually voice out, and then it is beyond tweeting again. In as much as we tweet, we need to take action, and the action is to get your PVC. If you don't vote, there is no way you want to change the leaders, irrespective of how they read. If you actually vote, imagine we have over 118 million people in Nigeria, and just about 12 or 13 million votes brings Buhari into power. So where are the other 150 that have voted? So in as much we cry, we talk, we yell at them, we need a very good dialogue with them. And the dialogue is stay as 10 hours to get that PVC. That's where your power lies right now. If you don't get that PVC, you will still recycle that same people. Now, strategically, Atiku has been painted as an hero and it's going to come back again. Do you want Atiku? No. Do you want Buhari? No. Which young person do you want to believe in? Sorry. No. So you yourself. You yourself, do you have the financial capability? So governance is beyond I can do it, I can mobilize people. No. We need to put the financial part too. So those that have the financial part, we need to support them. Kingsley Moghalu is one person that I actually believe in, but he runs away after the election and come back again. It doesn't work that way. So please, let's try as much. The whole Twitter ban is get your PVC and vote. If you vote, if everybody in your area votes and you stand by the vote, they count. There's no way they want to read. When they are announcing and the INEC is telling you 700,000 people voted, it's like, what? Just 80 people voted in this polling unit now. How come? You can sue them and win. The person that sued Fashola for Lagos Saturday environmental is a lawyer too, but it took him over 3 years to win the case. It's going to take time, yes. You can't fight government and win easily. You are not fighting your brother or your sister in the house. So it's going to take time, and that time is go to where you can get your PVC. Take 10 hours out of your schedule every day. Get the PVC. Once you get the PVC, you have the power. And how I cope with work. Yeah, I work in the digital media aspect, and I can tell you I don't want to go back to office every day. It's very, very stressful. I stay at Abulegba and I work at Okwebi. I can use like 3 hours in a day just to go to the office. If I get to the office, like once I take coffee like this, I sleep. I will sleep for like 1 hour. I will take a nap for 1 hour before I start working again. And we can't blame those that employed us. Nigeria lacks something that we call good attitude. You know, they've told you to work from home, and then some people still complain about network, they still complain about light. See, the network, I can't blame you because you don't have anything to do to that. But the light aspect, please, you don't have any issues with that. One is, if you break down your salary, you know that they give you transport fare. Why can't you convert that transport fare to fuel? Just get the work done, that's all. When it comes to internet, they know that you don't have any power over it. But stop complaining about power and data every time. It makes them feel stupid. That's why some people don't allow you to work from home. And I know some of my friends that said, they work from home, they are going to disturb them, they will not concentrate, maybe they have meeting, noises from the background and all. If you're not staying in the estate, it takes a whole lot to actually listen in a meeting. So that one is even different. But try as much as possible. Me, I have Airtel, I have MTN, I have mobile, Spectranet. So 3 of them cannot be mad at the same time. It's not possible. So you just have to find a way around it. If you don't want to go back to the office, everybody wants a remote job. If you get a remote job outside Nigeria, you need to factor in the time difference too. So when they are sleeping, you are working. When they are working, you are sleeping. So you need to balance it off. Please, that's how we just have to make things work. Thank you so much.
Aspect. Okay, so during COVID-19 lockdown, after the lockdown, working from home, I had the opportunity to stay with my mom in a shop, and it's like a complex. So what these people did was, because they are APC members, the head of all this, they are yellow jam. So one of the strategies they used was, they made sure if you want to be in that market, it's either you are under APC or they will frustrate you out. So they didn't give them the freedom of choosing to be in another party. You just have to be part of APC. And what they now did was, when APC
when they were doing their registration, their membership registration, they mobilized all of them to go and register, and they collected their card. They didn't give it to them. So now when they wanted to do the, I think, in-party stuff kind of election, so they even mobilized them again that this is the person you must. It's not like you're not given a choice. So they are made to all vote for. Imagine that is just one market. And I'm sure that it will be like that in several other markets. And these market women, if they can be united like that, at the end of the day, we might have PVC and it will still not get anywhere. Because these people know their target. They know who they want to, they know how to mobilize people. So I just feel that as young people, we need to be more strategic. We shouldn't just say, oh, let's go and vote, everybody get your PVC. How do we want to mobilize people into actually voting for the person they want to? And the fact is, many a times, when we see campaigns, we don't really know these people before. So sometimes people just follow the most popular person. Oh, since everybody is shouting this person, I'll just go with the person. So I feel that we should do more research on all these people and come up with strategies on how we want to mobilize people. Also, working from home, I can't work from home because my work has to do with gender-based violence, and we have to go to the office every day. So you people are lucky that you're working from home and working remotely. So for gender-based violence, we can see that it was on the high side during the lockdown, because this is to tell us that a lot of people are locked down with their abusers, and a lot of gender-based violence happening around. It's not a wall outside. It's not a wall outside. It's a wall within. And it starts from us. It starts from me, you, educating people, telling them that women and girls are not some piece of property to be beaten, molested, and abused. So this is an opportunity that I'm using to tell all of us again that women and girls should not be treated like an object, and it starts within us. The change we want to see starts with us. So if there's no abuse going on in the community now, maybe I would be in my house sleeping and working from home like Adam and the other person. But I need to go to work every day, because every day we get at least one gender-based violence to be reported. And so this is another opportunity to advertise my organization. If you're experiencing gender-based violence, or you know anybody experiencing gender-based violence, you can dial *347*0#.
Anybody, including males?
No, female, please. Because we realize that when it comes to we are not trying to say that men do not experience violence, but when we check the statistics, more women are prone to domestic and gender-based violence than men. So you can just dial our number. And one other effect, the negative effect lockdown had on me was too much social media. I'm always online because at some point it was so boring at home, and I'm not a movie person. If I'm watching a movie, I'll just sleep off. So I think I was kind of addicted to social media. So that's it. Thank you. And as for Twitter ban, I'm not a Twitter person before, so I didn't even do VPN. Can you imagine?
I need to share my experience too. So interestingly, during the pandemic in 2020, I was in the diaspora. I was in Iceland specifically. And then with the whole shutdown, then Nigeria was free, and in Europe it was a bit of an intense issue. And so I was in that frame of mind. I began to miss home. I wanted to come back home immediately, because the news about that time, since it wasn't very well stated, was like white people, are much more at the vulnerable end, and I was surrounded by white people. So I wanted to badly come back home. But as much as the pandemic was more of like a negative effect to the global world, it was unprecedented, and it came boom, and then we're faced to what next to do. It also, in a large extent, is more or less like a blessing in disguise to quite a lot of Nigerians or even youth globally. So for me, during the pandemic, while I was away, and then we resorted into staying indoor, doing everything indoor, and I I began to have a proper framework of what I want to accomplish in life. And that was when the Girl of Nigeria stuff came up, and I saw it online. I'm like, okay, this is something I'm interested in. I'm a political scientist and a gender studies specialist, and I do so much work around that. And I'm like, this is one initiative I would definitely want to venture in. And then I key into it, and interestingly, one of my interviewers is actually in this room. I never knew. He's just introducing himself today. Just to be very brief in my explanation, aside that, I began to be very deliberate with programs and projects that I tried to do during that period. And interestingly, I've been able to deliver a keynote, particularly talking about re-emerging phase of the COVID-19 to Nigerian youth. That was in Ibadan just some weeks ago. And I was in the position of asking my audience how they actually cope. And now I'm faced with the same question of how I was able to cope during the pandemic and what I used the pandemic, the close of the lockdown period to accomplish. To make it very short, because I'm somebody who loves storytelling, as you could have seen from the way I speak, is I was able to have a framework. I accomplished so much, and then I noticed that although before now, one of my employer then was, before COVID anything, was of the opinion that, guys, I think you guys should be working remotely, you will achieve more. And everyone was like, are you trying to send us away stylishly? And then we didn't like the opinion. But then when the COVID-19 came, and then afterwards I left the organization, I was no longer working there, but I'm still in contact with him because I like having a good cordial relationship, whoever I've worked in time past. And he was like, Kenny, you know I told you this some time ago. And I'm like, yes. And so how would you have measured the difference when you were working on site and working on? I'm like, goodness, I wish I had been working remotely all my life. Because I could achieve so much, and the stress of, sometimes apart from the traffic and every other, the mental state of you actually putting yourself out there, like it drains you. But when you're in a particular, I don't know how it works for other people, but for me in particular, when I'm in a particular location, most likely enclosed, I get to do more with efficiency, like high efficiency, and with speed. So this COVID-19 has actually made me love remote work, and interestingly, I'm able to juggle between several voluntary activities and my core work. I'm in tech, a gender specialist, a political scientist, several things that come to my name. So as much as COVID-19 was somewhat like a negative stuff to the global world, and we're trying to keep ourselves safe, it has been a blessing in disguise for me. I think I should cut my story short here. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I would just love to start with 2020 was just full of ups and downs, but nonetheless, I was able to leverage this period. It was my year of accomplishments and every other thing like that, because sincerely, I am still a secondary school leaver. I am an aspirant of the University of Ilorin. And then during that period, I leveraged more on social media. I had to stay at home because I'm currently a primary school teacher, so we had to stay at home during the lockdown period. So I leveraged more on social media. I took courses online. I did so many things. And one of which is, there was this period I saw Leap Africa calling for volunteers to commemorate the International Youth Day of Service 2020. So I had to put up for it, and I volunteered with Padbank Nigeria. That is a non-governmental organization that aims at ending period poverty and promoting safe menstruation for girls and women in resource-poor settings and communities. So since then, I have been a full-time volunteer with Padbank Nigeria, and I've enjoyed a lot of things, a whole lot of things I've enjoyed. And fortunately enough for me, earlier this year, I came across Girl of Nigeria, the application for the mentorship program. So I was kind of applying for it. At first I was like, let me just apply for applying's sake. But so far I am just so grateful because I was assigned to an icon as a mentor in person of Ms. Rafiat Atoda. She has been a soul lifter, she has been a hand lifter, she has been my source of motivation. Like, I've been a whole lot from her. She taught me so many other things like designing with Canva, just designing with Canva, and so many other things like that. I've really enjoyed the moment, and I look forward to extracting more and exploring more. That is just it. Thank you so much.
That's pretty fascinating. Yeah, the pandemic hit us by storm. We didn't see it coming. For us in the travel industry, it's like we're hit by a trailer. Yeah, I travel a lot. I do travel photography. Yeah, I travel a lot around Nigeria, and I have a lot of friends that travel too for business. Like, they get people to travel, they organize tours. So they were badly affected. That's why we had a kind of COVID-19 relief fund for the travel industry. Yeah. So fortunately for me, I had a big trip, one of my big trips, just about 2 weeks before the lockdown. So it was like having a full battery charge for for the lockdown period. Other people weren't really fortunate to have that. You know, it's like there's power now. You charge, you have a full charge, and they take the lights. You're good. Someone with 20% won't be so cool. Yes. So. Yeah, the lockdown. It was a time for us to reflect, have sober reflections about our lives, what we value. For some people, they realize that their life was just all about work. So they just have to stay indoors idle and bored and frustrated and depressed. Yeah, for someone like me, that I didn't have a title 9 to 5. I work on a need basis. Someone just calls, okay, I need pictures of some place. I go and take it, come back home. Or I just go and take pictures for myself and come back there. It wasn't much of a problem. It was like normal. You know, when there's no work, you just stay at home. So that period, I used it to gain knowledge for myself. Yeah, I put photography aside. Content producers, like, yes, some people mention Taoma and the rest. Yeah, those ones, they can do their work inside the house. They don't need to go far. They don't need to leave their estates. You understand that kind of thing. So those kind of people were fine. You know, but for people like us, we actually need to travel. We are human beings. We are all human beings, whether we love travel or not. We are not meant to be in one place. So it was really frustrating for some people. Yeah, so using that time wisely was really the agenda for everybody. Yeah, we had a lot of online courses. That's what a lot of people ventured into. And there was a lot of pressure on social media. Sometimes people do this thing, I don't know, as a competition, or you just want to see people flashing their certificates, and the pressure was too much. I didn't want that. And there were a lot of courses going around, all those free courses, you know, and you're tempted, because it's free, you're tempted to do something that is not really relevant to your line of work or your goals, career goals. So that was another thing. I manage social media well. I didn't let it pressure me. If you have shown me too much certificate, I can follow you. You know, we are working at different places in life. You don't let other people's people's goals get in your way, or you don't get distracted. Yes. So that was it. I have an IT background, so it was an opportunity for me to go back to IT. Yeah, I started a course in Linux operating system. It's something I was really interested in, but I didn't finish it. But I did a lot of work. It was very voluminous. Yeah, it opened my eyes to that area, and I was really happy. I looked. The quite unfortunate thing is that I didn't get a work opportunity there. Yeah, but I'm happy with the knowledge I get, and yeah, I was a little bit familiar. I did a lot of photography related things too. What else? Yeah, and for the photography industry, we switched to virtual exhibitions, online exhibitions. That was something fun. We didn't need to go out to maybe a place like this, hanging with pictures to see. We could actually do an online virtual exhibition and creative sessions. Now, there is a limit to that. There are activities that you really need to step out. of your comfort zone of the house. Yeah, and that was after the lockdown was eased. I am an environmentalist, and yeah, outdoor is my life. I don't like indoor. It's my life. I really need to go out. I get charged on outdoor in natural spaces. I belong to a number of clubs, bathing clubs, wildlife clubs, and you can't see these things inside your house. So initially, at the beginning of the lockdown, when we couldn't go out, we were just forced to be looking at things outside our window. Everywhere became quiet. So those birds, they come closer to us, like, oh, what's happening? I don't see humans again. So I don't know if any of you were observant enough to notice that. Well, so as the lockdown was, our meetings stopped. Travel only to where you need to be. You don't need to go there. You can do virtual. Yeah, a lot of for the travel industry, a lot of virtual concepts came up whereby you don't need to go to a place. You could just log on your phone. There are platforms you sign up on, and you do a virtual tour from all the collected videos of what people have been like Idonre. There was a virtual tour for Idonre, so you don't need to go to Idonre to see get on the bus or fly down to Akure. Yeah, but again, there's a limit to this thing. Sometimes you just need to be there. You need to move. That's it. We are human beings. Yeah, we are mobile. We're not trees that are just meant to be in one place. Yeah, I think I'll round up here. Yeah, that's all. Thanks.
Is there anyone else? I know you guys have not spoken at all. Yes, you're pointing to him. It came during the discussion. So if you need to share your experience also, yes. So apart from what has been discussed, we would like to hear from you guys before we can call Joshua.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to be sure we're done. Yeah. So I kind of have. Okay, I'm sure. So I'm a digital strategist by profession, and Nigeria has turned everybody to a personal one. So I make shoes, as they also inside. And I studied anatomy, interesting. I related from that completely. Wow. Yeah. So truth is that the pandemic, COVID-19, if you like, kind of exposed us to different approaches of doing things. But now I want to go back to anatomy, because I have a friend here. We always think I don't know so much about medicine. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I'm not even sure myself. But if you look at one of the disadvantages of working remotely is that it tells on the health, which many people don't always want to talk about. They want to shy away from. And then that's because, okay, for example, where I work with a marketing agency. This is a Fitbit. So one of the reasons why they gave us this Fitbit is because, okay, we work so hard, it's always difficult and things. So the idea is for us to have this Fitbit and count steps. So, and then health-wise, it is good for someone to at least have 10,000 steps a day. I mean, it makes your hearts pump, it makes your hearts functioning the right way it's supposed to function. And then medically, you're supposed to have at least 150 heart zone rates in a month. But you see now, when you're working remotely, there are people that where they sit, that's where they sit from morning to night. I mean, I was there. You sit from morning to night. What you just do is, for myself, I just go to eat, come back, you sit down there. You don't even bath. It's just alright to brush your teeth down. So sometimes, even if you don't feel like, you continue to work and things like that. So one of the challenges, or one of the health hazards that working remotely has brought is, with the health. And then I also do think that while the health is a challenge, it's also capable of causing issues like depression, maybe not largely, but to an extent. Because there was a survey I saw on LinkedIn, and people were asked to vote, okay, do you want to work from home, do you want to go back to office? And it was hybrid. Most people that voted was hybrid. It's always good to at least sometimes stay back at home. Understand? She's my sister. Today I told her that I didn't plan message because I wasn't sure I was going to be here today. Because Saturday is probably the only day I have to rest. Sunday again, you pick your system, you want to work on reports against Monday and things like that. You understand? So that's it. So it's okay to rest. I mean, but sometimes you have to go to the workplace to laugh with your colleagues, you know, move from the chair to chair, stroke somebody's head and things like that, you know. So one way or the other, half and things like that. So, but lastly, it just one other thing that COVID has shown to Africa as a continent is that we are way behind. You know? And it's so unfortunate for Africa as a continent to still be where it is and, you know, still struggling to find feet when other nations of other, you know, continents or world, if you like, are fast on. I mean, I don't know if this is quite 100% accurate, but I know of companies in countries like the United States that went remote, the COVID whole thing started, they went remote completely, and they're not going back to the workspace. You understand? So all those things we talked about, negative effects will still happen to them, but they are prepared for eventualities. You understand? So if anything, there's the data or whatever of COVID, so that's why it's so anything that happens to African countries like that always destabilize because we don't always get in the front seat. You know, I don't know if anybody here heard of instances where COVID came and you would find people say no, that it's like a political campaign.
Yeah.
Like, what? You know, people are dying, people are losing their, people are, and people, some up to date, you will still find some people that will still tell you categorically that they used it to raise money. You know? So all those type of body of Africa.
Share your experience and your name.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, my name is Eniola. I'm actually a protocol officer and an immigration consultant. So basically, I work at the aviation sector. But then when the COVID came, you know, it's just a whole new world. Like, yeah, that's a big bam, like everything just goes down. You know, when you've been working for like, say, 5 years, you get to go out every day, you go to the airport, you know, one thing or the other, you're always on the field. And then all of a sudden, you just have to start sitting at that corner of your house, like, oh, this is actually a reality. But then, it just, for me, I would say it's more like a reality check. Like, is it about the work? What's the clarity about my own personal growth? So then I realized that, oh, it's actually a business that I've been, you know, procrastinating that, oh, this thing I want to do, this thing I want. But then you can't go out, you just make it like, okay, what can I do from this four corner of this house? And then I reached out to a friend like, oh, I have this idea, let's partner, let's see how it can work. Fortunately for us, a business that's an essential business, so during the COVID, we could still get a permit to still move around. And that was how we started. And, you know, alhamdulillah, it's something that we look back on and we're like, oh, this is huge, thank God. So basically, it's just a moment of clarity, like, where am I actually heading? Am I living my life for the work, or am I living my life for myself? Am I living my life for the reason that I look for employment in the first place, or I'm actually living my life for the reason why I have to stand up for being the person that I want to become? So basically, clarity on who I want to become and where I want to be was the whole idea for me, and it was actually a huge turning point. So, thank you.
Tell the people that are always quiet, they like to drop some motivational stuff that will make you think. Thank you very much, and I'm glad that your business, you know, was benefited from the lockdown and all. Cheers to that. So up next, I'm calling on Joshua to give us like a roundup on this section.
Like I came here to give moral support. So I'll say for me, 2020 was supposed to be that year. You know, when you say Vision 2020, all those, like it was supposed to be that year for me. I'd left my job at a multinational in December of 2019. I had trips booked up for places, like I'd invested a lot just to travel, and the pandemic happened. And I started asking myself that, was it a wise thing to have left your job in December 2019? So aside from that, I started doing consulting. So in January 2020, I was consulting, but 3 months into the project, the pandemic happened and I had to leave. But one of the things that I told myself was, I'm first going to try to survive this, and I said if I survive this, I'm going to get married. So that was the thing I told myself. I said if I survive this pandemic, I'm going to get married. And everybody said that, like everybody on social media would say, oh, do you have a lockdown partner, or do you have somebody you're talking to after the pandemic? Will you keep talking, or the person was just your boredom companion? So, but that was something I told myself. I was like, okay, I was going to get married, and I got married in December. It wasn't like fine. If you tell me I was going to get married like now, I wouldn't believe, because even me, I didn't know how it happened. Basically, like, so, but when it happened, I was like, okay, great, let's make this. And it's 7 months now that I've been married. So, but thank you. One of the things. One of the things I really want to highlight is that there comes a time in our lives as people whereby life would happen. You would have all your plans. It looks like this is it, I'm going to make it. But then situations would happen to derail you, and that was the pandemic for me. But it made me to like sit down. The first thing I had to ask myself is, you have to survive this. Fine, you're doing a lot of work. I had to pause the work I was doing. And I started looking out for people who were working, and I tried to support them. I remember one of the things we did was I helped a Nigerian artist. Most of you may know her, Dija. I helped her launch. She did her first ever online campaign for her foundation during the pandemic, and it was a live concert. You know, then everybody was doing live concerts, so it was something I helped her run. And if you go on YouTube, like, it has like amazing views. So that made me like really very happy. Like on African Day, when other organizations were having events for that May 25th, we had ours, and a lot of people turned up for the concerts. And it made me see that if I want to get bigger outside of this pandemic, it's not just when I concentrate on myself, but when I concentrate on building others. And I remember speaking with my team, and I said, who are the people working around the pandemic? Who are the people doing stuff? Let's amplify their voices at this time. Let's make people know that these people need resources. These people are doing amazing things. People are making hand sanitizer. People are doing PPEs. People are educating the community. Let's amplify it. So immediately we started doing that. We started amplifying it. Then it got to a point. It got to the point of the fact that palliatives were not available. And for me, it was also a turning point for me, because I remember when the people sharing the palliative came to my where I was living, and I stepped out. I was like, okay, I'm here, and the people were like, no, we are not giving you. And I was like, why? They say, me, I live in a house that has fence and gates. What do I need palliative for? So it made me see that sometimes, because of this pandemic, it's just so easy for us to overlook people that may actually need help. So people that have lost, like, nobody would have known that I lost my job. Nobody would know, but because my house has gates, you feel I don't need help. So I just told myself, I said, okay, why don't I just, with my team, start talking about the need for jobs for young people, like people between the ages of 18 and 30 have been most affected by this pandemic. Most of them do not have jobs. They may be able to afford data, it's just because they are bored. And besides reaching out to a lot of people across Nigeria, people in government, people within the UN in Nigeria, then we reached out to them in UN in New York too. And we're like, wow, what can we do about this? And we started giving them illustrations. Nigeria, young people's voices do not matter. Government just calls us together and blah, blah, blah. Nothing will happen. And that's how, like, for the first time ever, from concentrating not on myself, but on others, we got funding from the UN to do a project just to understand what's happening with young people in Nigeria. And I'll say that it was big because it helped us to be able to work across the 36 states of Nigeria. not just it moved from me not concentrating on myself, but asking myself how can I make other people better. And I know that it was also an opportunity to also go back to learn. Like I started taking courses in the non-profit sector, like how can I be better, and I wasn't doing this for myself. I was trying to get better because I need other people to get better. So that's like the turning point. Like not to just make it look harsh. I feel that COVID happened for a reason, to make us understand how connected we are as a people. Like it's very important. We don't know how connected we are as a people, and it's also meant to make us see what our problems are. And that was what snowballed into the EndSARS movement itself. Everybody's eyes was strong, police, there'll be no money, nobody has given them anything. So the moment young people started coming out again, they started arresting them, harassing them and molesting them, and that led to the EndSARS event itself. And it's a big thing for us as young people to know that we made that happen. And it's also a bigger call for us to know that the best way that we can make change happen in Nigeria is not just on concentrating on ourselves, but on concentrating on we. Me, we go fast, but me, we get tired. But we go far. It might be slow, but we will always go far because we are leaning on the support of every other person. So one of the things that the pandemic has made me understand as a person is that I have to look beyond myself if I'm going to make change happen. And I have to also understand how to support people who need help, because sometimes because you have everything all together, you don't even understand where somebody is. And as young people, we need to learn how to connect all of our passions together. I like that everybody's talking about 2023, everybody's talking about the continuous voters registration, but we need to go beyond just talking about it to inspire people to act. People have to have their voters card, and by 2023 people need to come out to vote, because Nigeria cannot keep going like this. We cannot. I was on a call yesterday, sorry I'm taking this too much, I was on a call yesterday and the people said something that when people apply for their fellowships, that about 2,000 plus people apply. Guess the highest percentage? Guess what the percentage of Nigerians that apply? About 52%.
Wow.
It's a global fellowship, but 52% people that apply, they are Nigerians, and they don't get to take more than 2. So it means that we have resources as a people, but we will not go far if we are not a collective. As an individual, we are doing amazing well. Somebody can talk, somebody can say, oh, I'm doing well, nothing, anything. But when you now look at us collectively, we are not doing well. Me, I may be looking like, okay, I'm doing well, but bring all of us together. It's just like when Yoruba say that if you are the only rich person among 10 poor people, you are also poor. So as young people, we need to work together. We need to, if there's anything that is working for you, and you see somebody that needs it, share it. Because that's the way that we are going to be able to grow capacity, and we need to take interest in our nation. Earlier this year, I was in the US, and one of the things that was strong for me was how close-knit the communities are. When George Floyd died, it changed everything. EndSARS has happened, we have moved on. We all have, most people have moved on, but we do not need to move on. We need to stay there because nothing has changed. So as a people, let us not learn to move forward quickly. I'll be very honest with you, we are doing a campaign with the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports. We finished the campaign, the presidency likes it, they put it in the national budget of Nigeria for 2021. We are getting into August, nothing has been done, and I'm sure that money is going to go away. It's over 300 million naira that was put into the project that we worked on for 6 months, but nothing has been done. But if I say, okay, let me move on, I can't move on. I still keep pushing them because I know it's the work of a lot of people across Nigeria that made this happen. And if it is successful, 300 million may look small, but it's a lot. At the end of the day, it could provide jobs for people. So I'm so happy to be here, and I want to encourage us that when we leave this place, let's not just talk. Let us also walk that talk. If there's anything that's coming up to your mind, if you think people should, if it's even come as close as saying, because I've even asking myself, do I have to maybe make it possible for people around my area to even be able to vote? Like, I have access to unlimited internet, I have lights, and all of those things. So how do I bring all of these things out so that with my laptop and everything, people can just come out and vote? Because we need a better Nigeria. Twitter ban is there. Like last night I was thinking about it, and I'm like, with all the big brands in Nigeria, they just ban us. And nobody's talking. All the big brands, and none of us is talking. We are moving on. Some people are like, okay, I don't use Twitter like that. No, it's not like to castigate, but it just shows that if you get to what you use like that, and they will take it off.
Yeah.
You know, the bill, there was a bill by the National Assembly. See, if you can tweet as a protest, even though you don't use Twitter, just tweet as a protest and say, me, I'm not agreeing to all these things. It's very important because we need this country to work. Nigeria has to work for us. My dad was telling me that he has always known that there's been issues, there's been NEPA problem, there's been all of this problem. Like, I've been around for like 30 years now, and that problem is still here. So if we do not do something, guys, nothing will happen. So I just want to encourage us that please, let us do something. The little that we can do means a lot, and I'm so happy that we are all having this conversation, we are all gathered together. Nigeria has to work for us. Nigeria is working for some people, that's why we are where we are. But it has to work for all. And that's like the crux of my work, ensuring that Nigeria works for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Before we move ahead, I want Balkis to do the journey so far, the recap of 1 year of Girl of Nigeria with us. And I'm sure our online participants are still here, and our Instagram live participants, we are all still together. So kindly join us as we go through the 1 year so far with our president, Balkis. So Balkis, please come on.
Okay, so first of all, I'd like to appreciate every one of you, and I like that we've been able to exchange what was really bothering us during COVID-19 and how we're able to bounce back. Personally, for me, it was a period of adapting. You know, what is the worst thing that can happen to us in Nigeria again aside COVID-19? You know, this period as welcome, Mariam. So this period has really given us so much energy, and it has shed so much light to how far we can go. I was telling someone during Truth's Instagram live session on Thursday that this stage that we are right now in Nigeria, where we are digital, we're actually going to get here, but not now. If not for COVID-19, maybe like 20 years, 30 years. But because of COVID-19, it fast-tracked, you know, our adaptability process in digital space. So this is what we've done at Gallup Nigeria so far. I was going through this slide earlier this morning, and I almost teared up because I never imagined that we have actually done this much. This slide is about 40-something slides, and each of the slides has a reference to one thing or the other that we've done. It's fine if you guys don't clap, it's okay. Yeah. I'm not saying you should clap, it's fine. So, our journey so far, a brief of activities conducted from 14th of July 2020. So, 2020, during the pandemic, when everyone is trying to like, what can I be doing, what can I be doing? I was shuffling around online and I came across Gallup. Gallup is a campaign under United Nations Foundation, and I attended the last year's summit, the Leadership Summit. It was really beautiful, super engaging, amazing guys, spoke at the event. And I'm like, okay, yeah, there's platform for me to start this in Nigeria. Let me just do it. So I saw a couple of guys that started Get Up Nigeria, and I saw that they were unable to do some. I don't know what was causing them not to move, but if you check their presence, it was very low, and I needed to change that narrative. So I started Get Up Nigeria. I sent them an email. They approved Get Up Nigeria to be a club, an organization here in Nigeria, and here we are, sitting here celebrating our first year anniversary. So, first event that we held, this was one of the most challenging period for me at Get Up Nigeria. So we had our official launch on the 14th of August 2020. We had Kere Ogidi, who is my communications mentor, and we have Abiodun Eset from AMAP. We had Camille Olufoobi. She is the founder of MIPAD 100. So during this event, we're streaming live on YouTube. So something happened. We were like, the Zoom was hacked. So we're streaming live from Zoom to YouTube. So there were some indecent contents that that was popping up, and we've gone really far. Like we're towards the end of the launch. Like all the speakers, everyone has spoken. We had the regional director for Get Up in Africa. She was there, and that thing just popped up. I was in my room and I was crying. But, because the video was not on, nobody could saw what else. So I quickly raised up and like, okay, yeah, guys, we're back. I had to plead with the guests to just give a few notes about what they spoke about so that we can have that recorded, because we can't use that recording. And then YouTube actually banned that video, so we cannot use it. So that was the first challenge. And after the launch, in my head, I'm like, hey, is this thing gonna be good? Because, there's this saying that when you're walking and you use your left leg to eat somewhere, that's a bad woman, right? Yeah, so that was it for me. But I said to myself that I wasn't gonna lose hope. I'm going to do it. So we had our launch, and from there we had, so during this period before the launch, between July and August, quite a number of guys indicated that they'd like to volunteer with Get Up Nigeria. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, come. Everybody came. And then to now do stuff become okay, everybody's busy. All right, no problem. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna roll out application in a more structured way, where everybody would apply to volunteer with Get Up Nigeria. I think what was doing those guys before was the fact that Get Up Nigeria is an affiliation with United Nations Foundation. And everybody wants UN, okay, no problem, you get there. So I had to dismantle those set of volunteers, and they really put in their best when they were there for a few weeks, and then we called for volunteers. We had about 100 applicants. That was huge for me. I was even tired of reading emails. Funny emails, you see some people would just say, please find attached. So you're applying for something and telling me to find attached. Okay, I'll find it. Those things were really, myself and Victor were going back and forth. How do we do this? How do we select the best candidate? And today we have Kehinde Kayode, who is our project management officer. And then we have Toby, who is our deputy communications director. We have Damilola Akintewe, who is the vice president. We have Toyin Adepoju, the executive advisor. So I'd like to also share this. During their screening interview process, we saw that a lot of them had this diverse experience, and it was not too easy for us to navigate to what position to give these guys. So some people had years of experience. some of them were even older than us, and they wanted to like be part of Girl Up Nigeria. So the best thing we could do is let us do the same thing. Let us interview them. Let's see how we can bring them on board. And that was how we had Toyin Adekoji on board. I'm sure she has about a decade of experience in the media space. And what position can we give Toyin? You know, hey, let's create something. So we have to create executive advisor. So, because, you know, when you have a good applicant and you don't want the person to go, what do? You have to create an office for the person. So we created an office for Toyin Adekoji, which she's now the executive advisor. And then we have Love Ebegoni, who is the club secretary. We have Truth Osumariton, who is the communications officer. We have Joseph Chima, our policy and advocacy officer. We have Oluwatoyin Esther, the fundraising and financial officer. We have Mariam Umar, community engagement officer. We have deputy community engagement officer, Temilola Kinshori, and we have Olayemi Samuel as the monitoring and evaluation officer. So these set of guys, they don't live in the same place. Everybody, we are all scattered around. And the reason why we are having this event right now in Lagos is because I am in Lagos. So if it were to be that I'm in Abuja, we would actually have this celebration in Abuja, not Lagos. So these were the two volunteers that are right now in Lagos that were able to attend. So every other volunteers, they are currently attending online. Yes, we have Yetunde Odusote, who is our legal advisor. She's joining in from London. She told me that she had to take a leave from work, like write an excuse that she would like to be part of an event today and she won't be able to come to work. You know, these are far extent that our volunteers are going just to be part of the success of the organization. So after the recruitment, we started with 16 days of activism, which was their first activity as executive volunteers. You know, we basically just shared images, 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, Orange the World, Fund, Respond, Prevent, Collect at Girl Up Nigeria. So right now, if you're looking at this image, so this person holding gender-based, this person, she's currently not with us again, and then this person holding orange, this person, she's not with us again. Reason because they saw other opportunities, and that is, if you see better offer, go for it. Girl Up Nigeria is not paying you, you're volunteering. But if you see something better for you, go for it. But for people like us, we're here, we would continue to volunteer. But I like the fact that they went on, they didn't go down, they were growing. And for Rashida, she needed to take out time for herself, her family, her children, and then her studies, so you can leave. You can leave. It's not like a confined environment for us. So after that, we had Eradicating Rape Culture in Nigeria, an Instagram Live conversation with Alimat Magaji. And then we had an human rights and advocacy on gender issues, challenges and opportunities with Aisha Shuaibu. We had Let's Talk Orange. This was an event by Youth Rise, and we participated during the event. We gave our recommendation, in line with the 16 days of activism. Then we had Recover Better, Stand Up for Human Rights. So we had Amina Usman join us. She's a legal practitioner. And then we had Universal Health Coverage, an event where the club secretary represented us, Love. This was in Lagos, yeah. And then we had, so in January 2021, on the 12th, so Balkis Alaudin is a climate activist and environmentalist and all. I've always wanted to own something to myself in line with climate and environment, and Get Up is actually a platform that covers everything that I'm interested in and passionate about. So what can we do as a club, as an organization? What can we do to support climate action? So we started the She Leads Climate Action, and we can't do anything. So yeah, that was it for the She Leads Climate Action. So we've continuously done a couple of activities under that. Then we had gender and climate change. So from there we started having related climate conversation. We had Adenike Oladosu, who is the founder of I Lead Climate Action, joined our Instagram live session on this conversation. We had a school sensitization on climate action in Oyo State. We had World Cancer Day, I Can, We Can. So this period I was in Lagos, I was doing an internship and I was at work. Luckily for me, I have colleagues that are supportive. So I was able to, because all my executive volunteers, they were busy at that particular period that the guest was available. So I needed to sacrifice. Okay, so Rachel, these are fans, like making sure that everything is said, so I coordinated this Instagram live with Mr. Larry Bello. He's the executive director of Leah Foundation to commemorate World Cancer Day. From there, we moved to International Day of Zero Tolerance to Female Genital Mutilation. How did Toyin Saraki came on board? So, when Girl Up Nigeria started and the Twitter account was created, I don't know, maybe some people were actually waiting for us to come. So the way people were liking, following was really on the high side, and we had Barrister Toyin Saraki be one of those people that our first set of fans. He actually retweeted and commented on our post that, oh yeah, she's so happy to have Girl Up Nigeria in Nigeria. That excitement and stuff. So we thought, okay, so how can we bring this person that already showed the support sort of to us? So we brought her in for the International Day of Zero Tolerance to Female Genital Mutilation as a result of the work they're doing at Wellbeing Foundation. And we had an amazing time. She stayed from the beginning to the end of the event. On this day of the event, I was very sick. I was sick that I was on injection, not just drugs. And then I went to the hospital, and then I came back to the house. The clothes I was wearing from the hospital, that was where I wore that day because I couldn't get my injection early. So by the time I would get home, it was already close to the session time. I just needed to bring out the light, sit up in front of my camera, and just coordinate stuff. And then I was laughing, people would not know that, but these are part of the things that I personally just need to do to encourage executive volunteers. So we had architect Lola Ibrahim, who was the guest speaker and was represented by one of our team lead. And then we had Youth of Africa and UNFPA partner with us for the event. International Day of Zero Tolerance, again, we had our amazing project management officer, Kendi Kayode, who represented us on Arise TV to share some of our views on this topic. And during Women and Girls in STEM, so Girl Up Nigeria community is a diverse community of different people with different interests, different field of work. So we reached out and we had about 9 of them share their view on why they are into STEM. So this is Adeola Olaleye. She's a software developer, one of the co-founder of Quara Build. She said, I love solving technical problems, that's why I'm in STEM. And then we had Abdullahi Mufat Ayola. She's a computer science student. She said, I chose to study computer science because I am fascinated with computers and the way they are used. So these are ways that we connect with our community members to know what they feel they are so that we can support their growth. So from there we had citizen rights series. So to keep our community members active, we needed to okay, let's do some constant workshop. This was one of them, and it was facilitated by our legal advisor, Yetunde Odusote. From there we had school sensitization on climate action in Abuja. This was another physical outreach that we had, and it was coordinated by Truth Usmariton, the communications officer and policy advocacy officer, that's Joseph Chima. So we had an Instagram live session about the buzz about climate action with Temilola Salami. We also, so yes, another one. So during International Women's Day, we wanted to do something really different and not the usual, okay, do Instagram Live, post content. So we thought, let's call out, let's do something new. And we did International Women's Day mentorship program. We had the amazing Rafiat Atoda. She's here. Please can you clap for her? She was one of our mentors. And she was mentored. She was a mentor to Alafin Kausar during the program. So it was this period is actually a connection period between mentors and mentees and all. We had Oluwa Fanibe of Fact Track. We had Miriam Elba from Eluma from Obi. We have Rita from Ecovata. We had Oluwa Busayo. So we had amazing guys that mentored our mentees during this period. And how can we spice this thing up? So we decided to bring in the Honorable Minister for State for Environment to come have a little session with them and give them like a more elderly view of mentorship. And we had that session, that's on the screen. So because we're not just the only organization under the Get Up campaign, we get to have a little chat with other clubs. So Get Up Nigeria is part of a much larger Get Up community with over 5,000 clubs in over 125 countries around the world. So we regularly engage on a couple of their activities. So Women on the Rise was organized by Get Up RIA. Get Up RIA is a club under Get Up India, and we're represented by the Vice President, Tewe Damilola. So under our Shilis Climate Action, we had a conversation around the COP26, which was UN Climate Change Conference, what young people should know. We thought, by October, November, everybody will be moving, everybody wants to go to the UK for the COP26. So what are the things that young people need to know about this event? So we had an amazing conversation with Saint Melbourne. I always find it difficult to pronounce his name. So he's the head of climate change and energy, British High Commission, West Africa. So we had that to each other. Luckily, Twitter was still very much, we never knew it was going to be banned then. So yeah, so we had another capacity building workshop for our community's members. So we had people talk about environment, basically. So we had Mohammed Ibrahim and Suleiman Hawa. We had another one on spice up your leadership skills that was facilitated by Desmond. And then we talked about the Twitter ban. Now the Twitter is banned. So we had to get views from our community members. What did they think about it? How it affected them, their work and activity. So as a way of building our executive volunteers growth, we normally have capacity building workshops for them. So the first one was with, okay, I don't think it's here. So the first one was, okay, it's there. The first one was with Victor Oyeshino, our amazing HR. And, it was a super, I wanted him to have that time with the people that we later recruited for the work that he has done. So it was like a connecting time for them, oh, this is the person that interviewed us. Oh, yeah, this was the person that made our selection possible. So we had that first, and then we had Yemisi Koju Babalola, who took them on, I think they should be on marketing, communication, taking ownership as a volunteer. So we do series of capacity development workshop for our executive volunteers. So the next one, you see me and the mic. So I was at Wikiloves SDG. So Wikiloves SDG is actually under Wikipedia. So they were doing a couple of SDG stuff, and they needed me to come talk about climate, content, and the likes. So I was there. It was an amazing time. Yeah. So international Day of Mother Earth, we had the amazing founder of Sustibuy, Jennifer Uchendu, and Sheikh Nalibote. Again, another thing we did that was creative during Children's Day. So we realized that a lot of people during Children's Day, they go out to the park, they do graphic or they do this. So we critically shuffled the internet, and then we realized that there were a lot of kids that were shaking Instagram. I mean, when I mean shaking, like their content are so strong that people want to come to their feed every time. So we had Diana, we had Maxine, we had Kavi James. We had a lot of, about 10 girls here, very young girls. So we just did a graphics celebrating the amazing work, the content they create that makes us want to come back to their feed. So we had another session on child protection, parental or societal responsibility. So that was how we commemorated Children's Day. So World Environment Day, reimagining, recreate, restore. We had a tea chat with Olumide Idowu. So Let's Talk Ladies is an event by Lagos State University Student Union, and we partnered with them to launch that program on campus at Lagos State University. We're represented by Kende Kaide. So we had another event that we invited for, and we're represented by Joseph, which was a review of the position paper towards a national stakeholders consultative conference on generation equality. I participated in the Leadership Summit 2020. I was just an attendee, who was tired of COVID-19 and needed a break and just to stop. So last year we had Priyanka Chopra, Megan, Hillary Clinton, amazing guys as speakers. So this year, yours truly was invited as one of the speakers. When I first saw the email from the Africa Regional Director, I'm like, so they are seeing what we are doing. So Gallup is always doing something that on their Instagram page, they spotlight other Gallup clubs around the world. So there was a time that some of my executive volunteers were worried that, what happened? They don't even tweet about, they don't even post about us and stuff, but they do for other organizations, other clubs. I'm like, why are you people bothered about recognition now? Leave it. And then, just boom, an email in June. I got it, ooh, yeah. So I was part of the Leadership Summit this year as a fireside speaker. It means a lot to me because this year we had the second term Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations. We had Malala, we had the Deputy Executive Director of UNFPA, and amazing other people. So I was like, oh my God, this is so nice. But yeah, these are part of the things that you get for being hard work. Doing the hard work can be so difficult, tough, tiring. But when you know what you want to do, just keep it up. Don't stop. So that's it for me. So I'd like to appreciate our partners who have been a part of this journey with us in the last 1 year. So we have Wellbeing Foundation, Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, Federal Ministry of Environment, UK Government in Nigeria, Base Planet Foundation, Susti-Vibes, Ecobata, CS DevNet, Youth of Africa, Enviro News, Wave Foundation, International Climate Change Initiative, Gallup itself, Arise News, Lagos State University, Amman School, Eco Warriors, Vision Spring Initiative, Climate Talk Podcast, Eco Network Nigeria, RAF Radio, Wikilox SDG Nigeria, HDR Partners Limited, and Youth Rise Nigeria. So these are the people that are saying that, oh yeah, these guys are good, let's be affiliated with them. So please let me appreciate our partners who believe so much in us and other amazing people like you guys, and I reached out to a few guys. I reached out to Joshua. So he said, "Oh, please, this space is not going to be available on this date." Okay, no problem. Then I reached out to Uzain Sani. Uzain and I to just sit down, Twitter Latipadeo, and that's it. We built the network from there. We're consistently chatting, checking up on each other, and I reached out to him because I know he's in the tech space, and as a tech guy in Lagos, you'd have been to almost all the hubs in this Lagos state. So guy, I need a space for my event. And he said, wow, this is difficult that it was not really in Lagos right now. Okay, what would I do? What would I do? I was already thinking, how much should I budget for this venue? Why? And my executive volunteers really wanted us to have this on site. Okay. So he reached out back and he told me that I just spoke to HDR partners and they said we should send an email. So we tried reaching out to Budget for their space. So in between us trying to reach out to Budget, I had to reach out to Sheon Ibide on LinkedIn. He replied, I think 2 days after. So by the time he's going to reply, we already secured this place. So what was that? We all have people in our network, but we don't know. It is until you start to realize how strong you are as a person, that's when you know how strong your network is. And Sheon Onibide shared his email with me that I should send the invite directly to him. No, the request to use the space. And I told him that, oh yeah, thank you, we got a space, but honestly, we would like to have you as one of our guests for the event. And yeah, I dropped that message and then I sent him an email. He actually acknowledged I was going to be here today. So for a Sheon Onibide to be here today, it's a big deal for me because I know how big he is in the social development space and how busy he is. So just this morning, he sent us an email that he would not be able to attend due to an emergency, that he will be at an hospital, that we should send him a virtual link, that he would like to join virtually. I've never met Sheon Onibide one-on-one, but I'm sure maybe because he checked out my LinkedIn profile and, oh yeah, this girl, she's doing very well. I think that was it for me. That's just it. Because I've never met you one-on-one. The first time I'm chatting with you, that was it. And then you really picked interest that even in the middle of emergency, you want. Yeah, so, and then we had, we're supposed to have this guy here today, Abdulaziz Grenade. He's someone that whenever I watch his video content with his wife, Taoma, I'm like, this guy is God. They're so creative. And just an email, and they confirmed that I was going to be here on Saturday. I wasn't even expecting a yes, because I know that these guys, they do shooting like almost every day, and they confirmed he was going to be here aside this morning. In between that, maybe he was trying to add that and he realized that everywhere is flooded. So he had to also join us virtually. So that is how people that you don't know that are watching you, they are really watching you. So Miriam Giwa is someone that I've always followed consistently on Instagram. I just okay. She's the mother of content if you get to really know her, and I was just stalking her since I think last year thereabouts. I was constantly stalking her because I knew that one day I will invite you for my event, and if you don't come. So I sent her a DM. And she said, oh yeah, she would be happy to join. We sent an email. Unfortunately, she didn't receive the email. So last night, I'm just like, okay, this person, will she come? Let me just send another chat on Instagram, and she confirmed that, yeah, she's going to be around, that she stays around. And here she is. She's a very, very busy person. If you know Miriam Giwa very, very well on Instagram, you know that she's very, very busy. But these are people that create time to come here. Victor was telling me that he's just going to come and go. But I know you cannot come to my event and go. You stay. Joshua, I know Joshua is very tired because he had an event on Thursday, and here he is again today. Almost every one of us here were stuck up in traffic. I spent 3 hours between Ikeja to this place. So our thematic areas as an organizations are women in leadership and development, reproductive health, gender-based violence, climate action, quality education, gender equality, mental health, gender gap in sport, and gender gap in STEM. How do we carry out our work? Through advocacy, policy analysis and development, community action, and engagement. Our plan for the next 1 year, there are more than this, but we just wanted to list this out so that we never can tell. One of you can pick interest and say, yeah, but please, I'd like to facilitate this training for you. So we have in plan, data gathering and analysis workshop. We have training on tracking and accountability. We have storytelling through visuals and content creation. We have training on photography and video editing. We have digital marketing capacity building sessions, and we have STEM bootcamp. The reason why we streamline these plans for the next 1 year is because when we looked at the category of people we sent out invite to, these are people that one way or the other they're good in this sector. So I know that Shewonibide is very versatile with tracking, accountability, data gathering, and analysis. I know Abdullah, Miriam Giwa, they're very good with storytelling through visuals and content creation, same as Rachel Olujime. I know that Adedotun is an amazing photographer, so, you know. And then we have Adam Okeleyeru and Sheridan, who are very, very good with digital marketing. And then we have some of you who are into STEM. So we just wanted to okay, these are our plans for the next 1 year. How can you guys key into our activities? I know Nigerian Youth SDGs are doing so much, right now, and how can we come on board? It's our 1 year anniversary and we've done this much. So, on this note, I'm dropping the mic, and I really hope that come next year, I'll be able to stand here and still share with you our plan, our activities for our 2nd year anniversary. Thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate your presence.
And I'm also a perfume. I make perfumes.
You actually do a lot.
Great. So when I saw Balki's email, a message, it was almost I think I didn't see the email until last night. But she gave me the brief, I opened her profile, I saw girl up, and I'm like, I'm not going to say no to this. And the reason is not because there's a girl in it. I didn't want to be a girl more. But because I just see it as an opportunity for us to actually have conversations that matter and take, actionable stand on them. We live in a country that if everybody is not doing anything, I used to tell people that I live in the middle of nowhere. Because to be honest, if you are not ready to create your own part in this country, you're just going to be moving in circles and doing all sorts. I'm also grateful that I came in when she was presenting the 1 year achievements. Through COVID, you guys did a whole lot. And I think you deserve a round of applause. And I'm saying this because I know a lot of people who use the pandemic as an excuse to stop trying. And up to today, even as everybody is moving freely and trying not to be as COVID compliant as everybody used to be, they are still in that space. And to be honest, everything has gotten tougher. But it has also gotten easier. Companies now know that you don't need brick and mortar. If you can work without supervision, you're good. You cannot have 2 to 3 jobs. You can even get paid from abroad. A lot of people don't even know that before, but the pandemic has pushed some people. But for some people who even had things going on in their life, they've also relaxed. Some people have lost their job because they can't keep up with Zoom meetings. I don't know how you're able to get to work before 8 and you can't even attend a 10 a.m. Zoom meeting just because you feel you have extra time to sleep. So a lot has happened. And COVID COVID, when I saw an email and they're like, we're going to share stories, I'm like, wow, where do I want to start from? Because I resigned my 9 to 5 December 2019, and my resignation was to take effect January 2020. Because I was running KPMH alongside my partner, Nikomba Mdele, and he was, on the outside. I was juggling it, and it got to that point where I needed to be on board full time. Then I resigned my job in January, and they were trying to structure, and by March, COVID hit. And I'm like, who sent me? Now, who sent me came from a place where my friends and colleagues in my office then, I resigned, and 2 weeks later they're like, they increased our salary. I'm like, what? They increased everybody's salary. I said, wow. They had to wait till I left. Okay, no problem. And then COVID hit, and they're like, oh, you should work from home. And then she calls me again and said, guess what, Miriam, we're all working from home. I said, wow. She said, and they did not reduce our salary. I said, hey, they're not giving us data allowance. I'm like, wow. I just started thinking about something that, wait, if I admitted in March, I would have still be getting salary. I'll be doing their work, still be running my company. I'm like, wow, I would have been very rich. Maybe bought a house in Banana Island. But then, it didn't deter me because my colleagues are dead. Up to now, they're still working from home. But what has Miriam done in the last 1 year? I've been up there and I've hit rock bottom. And it's coming from a place where, at the point during the pandemic, every client on KPMG database were gone. And I'll still get to pay salary rise. I'm not the kind of person that takes in intern and they say, oh, because you're interning, or most of my interns are usually undergraduates because I believe everybody needs to have a work. So it's not stressful, you're undergraduate and I pay them. And I'm like, I have to continue paying salary to these children. So I did tell them the clients were, COVID hit everybody. So what did me and my partner do? We decided to start taking jobs again. So we started taking jobs, like I was working for people, and then from my own salary, I was still running my company. And then thanks to God, we were able to do that all over again. So I think COVID has helped a lot of us. Most especially today, my biggest testimony will be Balikis. Has helped you realize how much of a potential that you have. I used to tell people that if God showed you how much you can be, we would all be lazy. But we all have to, push ourselves to actually scratch that surface. I've been working all week. Yesterday, it took me 6 hours to get to Lekki. I left Surulere at 1 a.m. I got to Lekki. 6 p.m. driving through water, flood, potholes that I couldn't see, almost entered water that I didn't know was existing. Left Lekki around and I got home past 3 a.m. So I had every reason not to stand here today. Considering the fact that I'm planning and hosting an event for someone tonight in VI again, and I'm like, do you really want to go? I was in traffic when you were texting me yesterday, and I was just laughing, okay. But we're gonna make it happen. And I'm just trying to say that no matter how difficult the situation is, when something needs to be done, it should be done. I'm a Muslim, but I love the Bible verse in Proverbs that says, seek a man diligent in his duties, will stand before kings and not before men. And that's why that email that you got in June happened. Because not only did you reach out that, let's do this in Nigeria, you also be able to show them how much of an asset you can be. They didn't give you that platform. I feel go there, go be there by myself. How far? What's going on? So COVID has happened, and I want to believe, for everybody to be here, we all mean something. I don't think I'm in the midst of confused people. I've heard names, I've seen, I've seen your profile before. I know you're a marketing comms person. I've seen all the fellows that people used to think Miriam is on social media and I don't see, I see a lot. And I'm Rashida Atoda. Yeah. Again, I saw your profile, I looked through it. And it was from going to Gallup, I saw that she mentored 2 people in marketing communications. I'm a very meticulous person. What do they call that? The year plan of Gallup. So for storytelling, marketing, communication, digital marketing. I mean, if we can afford it, why not? There's always a budget. I will ensure that personally I'll be on ground. So any training that gets to help me reduce. I don't like when I see people in my DMs, please I'm looking for a job, please I need 2K. It's sad, you cannot have it. You know, we can all reach out for it. I don't think anybody enjoys begging for money on the internet. I don't see them as bad, needy people. I just see them as people who do not really know the kind of options that are out there for them. So maybe platforms like this is going to help, you know, open up. And I will also be committing my friend, Family, Texty, I'll be committing them to your development, your trainings too. They're going to beat me. I mean, they are also passionate about things like this, so I'm going to see what I can do within my circle, Kiki, Taiwo, you know, let's see how we can harness all this potential that within my own reach to see how we can help Gallup achieve, you know, their goals in the next year. So please, back here, and the entire team. We are not reachable, but you can DM me the fastest way to reach me. So if there's anything coming up, any training, you want to do an advocacy short film, I can commit that working into filmmaking.
Oh.
Yes, I should be able to do that. I should be able to believe into that. So whatever it is, as long as it's within capacity and God grants me, because there's nothing I can do on my own, and God is able to grant me that power to, you know, make it work, we'll work with it. So I'm fully committing myself to Gallup. I can't volunteer. And I'm saying it from a place, I can tell you I will volunteer, but you come it will not see me, most likely. So I'm not going to commit myself to that. But what I can say is if there's any time that you need me, I would 98% make sure that I'm on call, on the ground, and commit to that.
Alright, thank you so much for this. Thank you so much, Mariam. I follow you very diligently on IG and I like the content that you put out. Thank you. So before I go on, my name is Rafiat Atonda. I currently work as a communications officer with a financial institution. So what do? I also tell stories. I tell stories about the brand, its products and initiatives. And beyond that, I'm a communications officer, like I said earlier, but I have an art in the social impact space. And as a social impact maker, I do a lot of women, girls, and youth. I'm a one champion in Nigeria, a Carrington Youth Fellow. I'm so sorry, that was actually came late. I was coming from a meeting at the Ikoyi. So I had to come from Ikoyi down to this place. I'm also a Margaret Echo Youth Fellow. My fellows are here, so it's so great to see you guys. And that's not all. I was also part of a program put together by Partner West Africa. That was where I got to see my Lasso sister, Kenny. So yeah, I'm very excited to be here. I'm happy that Truth sent me that email. Because I met Truth in Abuja through Kende, and you know, after we got talking, she got to know what I do as a person, professionally and otherwise. And then she sent me a message saying, "Oh, Rafiat, I know you are a communications person, and you're also into the social impact space. We're putting together a mentorship session in commemoration of the International Women's Day, and we would like you to serve as a mentor." I was like, "Hey, God, mentor? Me too, I need a mentor." Well, is this something I want to take on? Most definitely. So they paired me with two amazing young ladies. One of them is here. So, I mean, I could remember fixing a class with them, and that day, oh my God, I was helping my sister sort out things because she was planning to get married. So from the market back to Ogun State. But because I already committed to having that session with them, we had that session and I'm happy that we had it. And you know, after the session, they gave me feedback, very amazing and endearing feedback. And I was like, oh, I actually impacted these ladies within this short period of time. So I want to appreciate Girl of Nigeria for the opportunity to do this, and just to keep this very, very short, in terms of recommendation, I like everything Mariam talked about, but in addition to that, I'll just say that we need to also focus on teaching young people skills. So when I mean skills, now I'm not just talking about tech skills, because nowadays everybody wants to be a techie because it's a fancy thing to do actually. Techies are making money. You see, recently I put up a project, in my capacity as a one champion. I tagged it Skill for Profit. So Skill for Profit for me is a social re-engineering program. It was supposed to, empower 200 young people across Nigeria with digital skills that would help them connect with local and international clients. And why did I put that together? I looked at the data, the statistics. It's staggering. I mean, over 33% of young people are currently unemployed in Nigeria. And no thanks to COVID, I'm sure that we have more numbers, but that is what the National Bureau of Statistics has actually told us. So, I go aloud, I thought, what should I do? What can I do as a young person? So I leveraged my network. I reached out to people within my circle, those that I know that they do not have any office job. But these guys are making more money than me that is going to the office. Well, I've been working from home. Do you get it? They work from home. So I asked them, will you help me facilitate this session? We did a session, we had a content writer, we had someone who is a techie, there's someone into crypto, and there's another person into product design. And they talk to people. And one thing I kept on emphasizing was the fact that oftentimes when people teach skills to young people, you're just teaching them what? You're not teaching them how. And when you teach people what, to what end? Just like he's saying, if you want to become a fish farmer, you need this, you need that is not enough. You need to let people know that beyond this knowledge that you currently acquire, this is how to go about it, and this is how to penetrate the market. So as part of the recommendations, please, when you are putting out initiatives, especially when it has to do with skills, maybe for example, you want to teach people how to make simple designs using Canva, or how to be a content writer, and so on and so forth. Please teach them how to leverage those skills to making money, monetize the skills for them. And one of the things my facilitators, one of the things they did, I ensure they did those things. I told them, please tell these people the platforms you currently use. So for those who are freelancers, all of them are practically freelancers. They told them, go on so and so site. See, this is how to go about it. This is what the layout looks like. This is what you should do, and so on and so forth. So please, when we are putting out projects, let's not just do it because it's a great thing to do. Of course it is, but let's think sustainability. And I'm happy that Girl Up is already doing that. But this is just in addendum. So what else? I think that's about.
Tell us your favorite comedy show.
A favorite comedy show. I'm not sure I have one, to be very honest. Okay, I'm not sure I have one, but of course I follow many of them. The like of Tao. I can't say Mariam is a comedian, but I love her content. Yeah, Mr. Macaroni. Those guys are doing an amazing job. Who else? Yeah, Maraji, I love her content as well. And I also love Tomike. She's very, very brilliant. Who else? A lot of them, so I'll just keep it at that. But thank you so much. And my sweet Betty, I need to just give it up to this. Please let me clap for myself.
Managing partner in Get Partners Limited. Again, what do we do? Actually, we run a hub here. And we are basically a social for-profit company. We are female-led.
Yeah.
More percentage of female than male. Basically what we do is we have a soft spot for technology, we have a soft spot for creativity, and we help small business and small and growing business, with growth. We have services as growth as a service, and we have some other services to help small businesses. And we are also the promoter of inkeeper.work. Okay, so that's where I really want to dwell. So inkeeper.work is your hybrid learning platform. We are in where we sort of permit me to give you a line. Yeah. So we are an upskilling platform that allows for collaborative learning, and we leverage self-paced and instructor-led approaches. Basically, that's what Inkeeper is on. We have courses on technology, we have big data, and we have courses on digital skills. We have courses on business skills as well, communications, and all those other skills on the platform. You can check us out on www.inkeeper.work. Okay, and we are glad to have hosted the Girl Up. Thank you for being here.
Get up, Nigeria at work!